Good evening, everyone.
Good
Hi,
evening.
good evening.
I just saw this your paper. Well designed.
Hi, Upasna. Upasna, can you hear me clear?
Absolutely. Yes.
Perfect. So I think we'll start in another 60 seconds. Let's wait for another 60 seconds and then we can start. Okay.
Absolutely.
There is a echo happening. I think.
You know, what you need to do is let me do it for you.
Another 60 seconds and then we can start. Okay. Okay, I think I've sorted it now. My YouTube page was also open. Thank you, IT, for helping me. We'll begin now. Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Sanjeev P. Sahni, for joining us today at the Outreach Collective. I mean, we are so excited. I mean, all of us in the Outreach Collective community are so honored to have you here with us. This session is fourth in the Legend of Outreach session that we have been hosting. The Outreach Collective is a community of admissions, outreach, school counselors, university admissions directors from India and abroad who have come together to network, learn, and grow together. This was initiated by me and Bhakti Shah, who is the representative of Illinois Tech in India. And both of us got together and said, you know, there's a lot of development that is happening in the space of admissions and outreach. And it will be great to have a platform where we can bring everybody on one single platform to share knowledge, to network, and to bring the best speakers from around the world to share their expertise, people that have contributed to the development of the higher education space, not only in India, but globally. And in that series, we have had the honor of hosting some really inspirational personalities. And today is one such personality who has really transformed the way Indian higher education is being looked upon, not only within India, but globally. It is my honor to have with us the legend of outreach for the month of April, Professor Dr. Sanjeev P. Sahni, who is now a professor of Eminence. This is really special for me because personally also, I mean, he is like my mentor. He's like my everything. I mean, he is a very important part of my life, and whatever I have learned a little is from him. So it's an honor. I do one thing. I'll introduce Professor Dr. Sahni formally, and then I will talk more in detail about the work that he has been doing, which is phenomenal. And when I invited him to this session, he asked me, what do you want me to talk about? I said, just be you. I mean, the work that JIBS is doing, the teacher training programs that you have done is amazing. And I will talk about those in my next couple of minutes that I have to spend with him. To start with his introduction, and this is the formal introduction that I'm reading out, Professor Dr. Sanjeev P. Sahni is the advisor to the Vice Chancellor of O.P. Jindal Global University, and he is the member of the governing body of the university. As a founding member of the management team, he was instrumental in establishing the university in the year 2009, along with the Vice Chancellor. Dr. Sahni is someone who is also the founder and principal director of the Jindal Institute of Behavioural Sciences. He also serves as a professor in the university as the director of Center for Victimology and Psychological Studies, Center for Leadership and Change. Sir has also been appointed as the Professor of Eminence by Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar, Punjab. And he has also been recently appointed as the Vice President of World Society of Victimology. And this is his formal introduction, but informal introduction that I know of him. He is a gem of a person. He is somebody that takes interest in every person that is around him. He's like, I'll say he's like a coconut. He's very hard at the top, but inside he's very, very soft. And he will do small things that you will remember for him for life. I'm just an honor knowing him. A lot of my colleagues from Jindal, when I invited him as Legend of Outreach, messaged me on WhatsApp. They said, we don't attend anybody's session. We have left Jindal 4 years back, 5 years back, but today we will be here. And I'm seeing 3-4 of them here listening into him. So thank you so much, all of you. I'll not point you out, but thank you so much for being here. And the respect that we have for Dr. Sahni is for everybody to see. I want to take a couple of minutes to talk about Jindal Institute of Behavioral Sciences, and specifically the work that JIBS is doing in the area of development of behavioral sciences and awareness around mental health and the stress level of teachers that everybody talks about that, but I see very little work happening. But Dr. Sahni actually at JIBS is doing those efforts that probably I have not seen anybody globally also taking those pains to actually do those work. So I'll take a couple of minutes to talk about JIBS. So JIBS is a research center established by Dr. Sahni himself. It works in the area of behavioral science research. It is a multidisciplinary institution. Its primary focus is on applied and experimental research in the areas of mental health, competency mapping, neurosciences, neural decision sciences, psychopathology, management sciences, forensic studies, social psychology, and criminal behavior. And wherever I have taken Dr. Sahni with me and he has done multiple training sessions across the world, not only in India, but I'll show you some slides, his work. He has impacted 200,000 teachers. He has been to 7,599 schools. And I'm sure these are old numbers. Every month he adds another 100, 200 schools to his kitty. And there are close to 2,000 programs that he has hosted. 36,000 plus participants in his teacher training programs. I mean, the numbers are mind-boggling. I don't think anybody else in the country has been doing this impactful research in outreach, value-created outreach for schools. The topics that he covers are from right on your screen, from stress management to best teaching practices to, mental health, how to parent, parenting problems, leadership problems, anything to do with schools and child and parent. He has been doing it. He has conducted countless webinars ever since the COVID pandemic limited his ability to travel out. And again, on your screen, you can see countless number of webinars that Sir has been conducting. So his reach, and this is absolutely wonderful. If you see these graphs, in India, he has reached to hundreds of schools across every state. Then he has reached out to around the world. He has reached out to so many countries. So many thousands of teachers have benefited from his sessions that have been conducted over a period of last 10 years. I also take this opportunity to introduce my co-host for today, Upasna. Upasna Kindra is the college advisor and psychology teacher at DPS International Saket. And Upasna kindly accepted my invite to be a co-host with me and have the honor of having a conversation with Sir himself, Dr. Sanjeev P. Sahni. And just a side note, I mean, both of us are also PhD students at Jindal, so it's extra special for both of us to be hosting him today. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much for inviting. Yeah. I'll talk
Perfect.
later. Yeah.
Perfect. So I would like to go on to Dr. Sahni himself.
Okay.
So, sir, please, I mean, the floor is yours. We want to know, so we want to start with your story of how you, the setting up of Jindal and you coming into education from a background where you were an IAS officer to start with, a government servant. And I know the story, but I'm sure the larger TOC community can benefit from that.
You know, whenever somebody introduces me in a big way, very lengthy introduction, they think they are pleasing me, but whereas it's not true, because your expectations, the listener's expectation goes so high that at the end of the program, they think, it wasn't like that. So, although I treat Ankur Vora like my own son, and whatever time we have spent, and when he left, I was the only one who did not like it, and I went and fought with Sialfo. I remember that. And but I know that wherever he will go, he will do very well. Okay, regarding me, I'm basically a psychologist. That's also, everything happened in my life is through accident. So my father wanted me to be a medical doctor because my elder brother was an engineer. Not many people are aware. He forcibly sent me, because I'm from Himachal Pradesh, to Chandigarh to study medicine. I failed the first year. I mean it, I failed. I went back and he said, what may come, you have to study medicine. Go again. He spent the money on the hostel and fees again. I failed second time as well. I mean, it's not that I'm just kidding. I failed. Then I went back home and my father said that I don't have any money. Now you will, I will open a small shop for you and then you work there. You know, you'll be surprised to know that I said, give me one chance through the executive education or distance education and let me see if I can do it. He said, what do you want to study? And I said, you tell me. He said, why don't you become a philosopher? He said, you know, I want you to see you a Radhakrishnan in you. And that's his thoughts. I started studying philosophy and just want to tell you that I topped the university, but I did one class in 3 years. And then after that, all the time I was a merit holder. And while studying philosophy, psychology, my time was part of philosophy, and I started liking it. And I told my father, I want to become a psychologist. You know what he said? He said, "Pehle log pagal bolenge, fir doctor bolenge." And look at the kind of a stigma. And my father was a highly educated person. Even he was talking like this. Anyway, I said that I want to become a psychologist. I did honors, bachelor's, master's. Then I was very lucky. I did PhD from postgraduate medical institute at Chandigarh. Then I went abroad for postdoc and I learned biofeedback sciences and learned at that point of a time how to assess human behavior on machines. Gone are those days. I want to tell all of you, psychology is not the same. Ms. Kindra, it is not the same. Because gone are those days when we were assessing people on questionnaire. And I have a very strong observation regarding questionnaires. Most of the questionnaires are being borrowed or stolen from the Western countries, and that does not have any kind of an implication in India. If there are few adaptation in India, the cultural differences are so much that the Northeast, whatever we have standardized over there, will not applicable in Punjab or in Bengal or in South. So I really wonder when we administer these kind of questionnaires, whether these gives any kind of true results about a person or not. The second thing which I want to tell you, every Indian, now here I'm making a sweeping statement. Every Indian generally gives the statements what they want to be rather than what they are. So what I'm trying to tell you, that diagnostic system of psychology in India is in a very, very terrible shape. Now, what is the answer? We thought that, I always give this example that 400 years back, when somebody said that we can measure temperature, and people said it's not possible. 170 years back, when people said we can measure blood pressure, people like you said it's not possible. 30 years back, when somebody said there's a glucometer, give me a drop of a blood, and within 5 seconds, I can tell you what is your blood sugar level. Most of the people said it's not possible. When today I'm telling you that human behavior, we can assess on machines completely, you people are thinking it is not possible. Wait for next 5 years. All of us, we will go through these kind of equipment assessment, which are highly objective in nature, which are highly scientific in nature, and there is no need of getting reliability, validity, and standardization. So I come from that background, and after doing my postdoc, I came back to India. And when you come from US, you think you are one of the smartest people around. Nobody cares about you in India. And somebody suggested me, why don't you take a UPSC exam and you may get a job? Fortunately or unfortunately, I got selected. I started working in Ministry of Human Resources Development, and then I moved to Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs. I did a lot of work when I moved to Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs. I established the performance enhancement centers for sports people. So I worked with the Indian cricket team, golfers, shooters, archers, judo, boxing, and so on. And I established, not in Delhi, but in Bangalore, Patiala, at various institutes, the performance enhancement centers. And government really liked these kind of centers. And, it was helping the sports person in a big way. But working in the government is not easy. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry, either you will be promoted only once a person will die or retire. So I never liked that kind of attitude. I worked for 13 and a half years with the government, and I resigned. And when I resigned, my parents were not happy that I will get a CGHS card or what kind of facilities. But I thought, let me try myself in the private organizations. I worked with many organizations, but to cut the story short, from last 17 years, I've just completed 4 days back, 17 years I'm with Jindal Global. So initially, I spent good 7-8 years as a director of the human resources, head of the human resources for the entire Jindal Group. And we must have hired over, I would say, 7,000-8,000 people, interviewed around 50 to 60,000 people. And we were not like a HR, but we were like the partner towards the progress of the organization. And in 2007, when Mr. Jindal asked me that there is not even a single university which is in top 200, now we have IITs and few. I'm talking about 2007, there was not even a single university which was in top 200 in QS ranking or Times Higher Education. I consider only these two rankings as real rankings. And he said, can we start something? That was not my forte, but at that time I was looking after the medical school, engineering school, community colleges, and few schools and all that on behalf of Jindal. So we were spending around like $30-35 million every year, which was purely a philanthropic activity. So then we did a talent hunt. The present Vice Chancellor of this university, Professor Rajkumar, were hired in 2008. And then we both established this university right from scratch, buying the land and buildings and all those kind of things. Then I thought that I have a PhD and I should start teaching one course, is criminal psychology course. Believe me, this particular course, why people become criminals, what is the psyche of the judges, what is the psyche of jury, what is the psyche of opponent lawyer, what is the psyche of offender, what is the psyche of victims. And when I started teaching it, students used to love it. Not me as a professor, but the course was very good. And I became a popular teacher and I started enjoying it. In 2013, I moved to JGU full-time, and then I want to do research. I want to write papers. I want to write books, but JGU drags me into dirty administration job continuously, and I'm doing that. Can I also talk about the Jindal Institute of Behavioral Sciences?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Then accidentally, I thought, why should I be a part of the school? Why shouldn't I start something of my own, which is my field? So I established what's called Jindal Institute of Behavioral Sciences in 2014. We are completing 9 years this month. You'll be surprised to know. 2 people, myself and 1 research assistant. We thought that we should have this institute. Almost for next 7 years, we were having only 2 faculty members. But today, we have around 30 faculty members in Jindal Institute of Behavioral Science. But when we were having less number of people, we were more productive. I want to tell you, I've written 19 books, and all these books are through Springer Nature, Bloomsbury, LexisNexis, and so on. We have published in total around 80 research articles, Scopus indexed. We have written around 70 book chapters. We have completed 28 research projects. We're doing a lot of community work. We go, and I don't know if anytime you people are interested, we have had 1 documentary movie which has been prepared in-house on domestic violence, and which has won maximum awards. German wants to buy it worth 50 lakhs of rupees. We are not selling it. The second movie is ready on acid attacks, which will be released probably in the month of July. So we are going to the villages, we are talking to people, we're talking about their issues, we are empowering people, we're doing a lot. So we don't spend time. I come to office only when Ankur Vora wants me to speak on something, but generally I'm on the field. We have also done a very interesting thing. That is a JIBS infotainment. So these are like 3 minutes to 5 minutes videos, which is being how much? 40, okay, around 5 million, which is 50 lakhs. People have viewed it in less than 2.5 years. So, and there are 25,000 subscribers, and it's a pretty popular, and we have 200 videos related to psychology. We have put it into the YouTube. It's called JIBS Infotainment. I'm very keen to go to public and understand their challenges and issues. I'm very lucky that more than 200,000 people, 2 lakh aadmi, we have principals and teachers. We have trained in India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, Arab countries, and some part of Africa, which the credit goes to Ankur Vora. So, and we generally ask what kind of, it's not a training program. Nobody can change human behavior. Nobody can transform human behavior. I may call myself as a good trainer, but I can tell you, I could not change my wife's behavior even an inch in the last 31 years. So how I can call myself as a good trainer? So nobody on this earth, I personally believe, can virtually transform the behavior of other people. So we thought that it is important that we do awareness program. What are the new skills or techniques are available? How to handle the troublesome students, how to handle the aggression of the students, and all of this we are doing at Jindal Institute of Behavioral Sciences. We also run a PhD program, and almost 12 people have been awarded, and another 4 are going to be awarded in this August. So we are producing maximum PhDs at Jindal Global University, combining all other schools, and Jindal Institute of Behavioral Sciences is publishing more than all of the other schools. Problem is, the last thing which Ankur Vora asked me, I want to talk to you about mental health. In India, there are only 6 psychologists after 1 million people. Can you imagine? And all those 6 are like me, who doesn't know anything how to help other people. When I did a master's in psychology, I thought I'm a master's in psychology. My father's friend that asked me that probably his son is a drug addict. Can you help him? And I was wondering which drug he's taking. What are the protocols? How long it is going to stay in the body? What are the effect on the brain or memory? I was having no information. I asked very simple question to these masters in psychology students. Tell me what is the difference between a tension and a stress? 99% students have no idea what is the difference. I ask tell me what is the diagnostic of stress, tension, depression, anxiety, arousal, fear, worry, phobias, obsessive compulsive behavior, all psychosomatic one. I generally ask them, please tell me what is a psychodiagnostic? How would you assess? 99% students doesn't know. What will be, if diagnostic is there, what will be treatment? They know only 2 or 3 things. So they take names of few therapies, which may or may not work. So my question is, mental health. In fact, I also want to tell you, even government is not doing anything. You'll be surprised to know. My time when I did it, 0.2% of the total health budget used to go into the mental health. We fought, and now it is 1.6% of the total health budget goes into mental health. I want to ask the government that very simple thing. If people would be having a good mental health, then they will not have diseases also. That is why in every developed country, they have a budget of anywhere from 35% to 45% of the total health budget. Government also needs to learn. I'll tell you just last few things. The medical doctor spent or studies only 20 hours in entire 5.5 years psychology. Nurses, they don't study anything about psychology. Social workers, they study only for 2 hours psychology. And psychologists or counselors doesn't know anything. I'm sorry, I'm being very blunt. I'm known for this. This is the situation in India about mental health. Nobody cares. When you, being a teacher, you say any parent that your son or a daughter requires any kind of a psychological support, no parents likes it. No parent. They'll say, you probably are mad, but my son or daughter is absolutely fine. So what I'm trying to tell you, the stigma attached with the word psychology, people are not happy. 2, we don't have a qualified people. And on the top, there is a community called psychiatrist. Never ever go to them. I'm sorry if any psychiatrist is listening. I have a stand for it. They know only 2 things: antidepressive drugs and anti-anxiety drugs. They will prescribe you, lifelong you have to take it. That is the situation of mental health in India. We need to work together. I know you were having many questions, but I also want to tell you my wife is a vice principal of a very reputed school in Delhi. And she told me, we want to hire special educators. She said, what should be the qualification of these special educators? Can you imagine? And then she said, we also want to have a counselor. We also want to have a clinical psychologist. I said, why suddenly this has happened? She said, we call ourselves as an inclusive school. And in inclusive school, parents said, all kind of students will come. She said, 27 children in the primary school, they bite other students. And we tell the parents that you can get an attendant. They said, we will not do, since you are inclusive. It's your job. You look after. So she said, whether the teacher teaches in the class or she manages them. Now question comes. I said, wonderful. You want to have a special educator. Where will you get a qualified? I want a qualified special educators. Special educators are also has to be registered with Rehabilitation Council of India. There is hardly any institute, authentic one, which is providing a special education. If there is one or two, very few, I have no idea. There is something called rehabilitation sciences. There are only one institute in entire India, I can name that, Holy Cross in Trichy. They have only that course. Psychosocial rehabilitation course has been prescribed by the Rehabilitation Council of India. There is not even a single institute in India which is providing that kind of a degree. Kindly ask government. Then from where you people will hire? And the schools are very smart, private schools. They want to make money. They hire in the name of psychology, and they are all doing career counseling. They are not doing psychology counseling. So what I'm trying to tell you, I want to start with negative. The situation is bad. Now, all of us, we need to work it out. This is a great platform. We need to work. We need to educate government. We need to educate people. We need to educate the school authorities that mental health is important. Why? In the month of February, 3,200 students commit suicide. Why? We are responsible for that. Government is responsible for that, because the rote learning and the expectations what they have from all of us, and the parents as well, the expectations. We are responsible for those kind of things. Anyway, please go ahead, ask more questions.
It was wonderful listening to your inputs on so much of it that we think about, and we sometimes feel frustrated about at times. And it's an honor that I get to talk to you today on this platform. And not many people know that I am a part of your JIBS.
Even I don't know.
I am a part of JIBS, and we have met at your office once before I took admission there. And my association with JIBS made me, see the kind of wonderful work JIBS is doing. So I brought in my students over there who are studying psychology, and other students as well. I wanted them to see all the apparatus and everything that is state of art over there, so that, they can know what wonderful work is going around there at JIBS. After listening to you, I know the situation is grim, but I think, again, we should use this platform and probably talk a little about the way forward. So if I talk to you about, JIBS and the kind of work that you're doing in JIBS, probably I would like to know that how do you see the field of behavioral sciences evolving in the context of education over the next 5 to 10 years? And what role do you see Jindal Institute of Behavioral Sciences playing in this evolution of education?
Yes, good question. And let me tell you, my time, there were only two professions, doctors and engineers. 15 years back or 20 years back, law profession and chartered accountancy. Till today, it is again a stigma to study humanities and arts. In the school, the less number of students would like to study humanities and arts. I'm not talking about a particular schools, but I'm making a generalized statement, all government, private. So the people who are studying humanities and arts are being considered as nalaik. That means they are not up to the mark. And that stigma goes there. So not many students, and in fact, let me tell you, if you see the higher education budget by the UGC, also goes maximum budget into the hard sciences rather than in humanities or liberal arts. In fact, liberal arts is dying in India in a big way, because you will see that only rich and affluent class will probably go into the liberal arts, but otherwise people would like to go in one particular field and they would like to do bachelor's and master's in that particular field. Now, coming to your question, this is the time when the next 10 years, 15 years, which is with the mental health professional. Why? Especially after Corona or during Corona, people realized that, in fact, when we talk about a behavior, and whenever we say that, give me the definition of the behavior, behavior is a simple, that whenever a situation comes to you, how you react in that particular situation, only then you can judge a behavior. Otherwise, you, while sitting or looking or interacting with the person, you cannot judge any person. So when Corona happened, people realized and people started fighting at home. People were jumping on each other's toes, and the parents' viewpoint regarding their children were very harsh, because they were saying, oh, keep studying. You should not get up out from the screen. And many things happened. In fact, the domestic violence at home, there's a lot of research has come, says has increased quite a lot. In fact, earlier we were thinking it has reduced because number of the calls or the helpline has been reduced. But then we realized that when people are at home, the husbands and children, so it is difficult for a woman to give a call. Then I'm glad that few state governments said that we will keep these request forms at the mother dairy, mother booths, or other ration places, so that they can go. And it's picked up again in a big way. Coming back. Now there is a time which we need to understand that mental health professional is required for every student. When I was a student in United States, let me tell you, every family used to have a child psychologist. And that particular thing has started emerging in a bigger city like Bangalore or Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad. These are the places where now the acceptance have been started. Whether it's a school education, just to give you a small example, how important the psychology is. Sports psychology, just to give a small example. We will never won so many gold medals because we don't prepare people in laboratories. We prepare people on grounds. Just to give you a small example, that psychology is different all the time for different people. If there are 7.6 billion people existing in this world, there are 7.6 personalities. Now, when we have a different personalities, assume that, I'm just taking an example of a football or a hockey. There are forward, they have a different set of behavior or personality. There are quarterbacks, they have a different. There is a goalkeeper, it's a different. Forget about that. Even the right quarterback and the left quarterback, what kind of a vision angle they have, that we need to check, and then we will place. Because when I'm going to turn my head, it may take few milliseconds, but without turning head, can I see the ball? So that kind of a precision is there. And in every field, whether it's an industrial and organization psychology, whether it is an investigative or a forensic psychology, as a child psychology, it's a neuropsychology, psychophysics, name anything. Now people have started hiring. In fact, the maximum money if you want to make is industrial and organization psychology. Second, forensic and investigative psychology. Even the rich people have hired, or the companies have hired. When we are giving a salaries worth, let's say 20 crores, 50 crores, 100 crores, in Infosys used to give 240 crores of rupees. So in that case, when we hire people, we want to know their complete personality. Psychology, as I said, is not same. Earlier, we used to study mind separately and body separately. From the last 20, 25 years, we realized that the mind and body are not two separate entities. It is the mind which governs my body. It is not the body which governs my mind. In every field, Madam Kindra, you tell me, you name any field, I will attach psychology with it. And I'll prove it, it works. Psychopharmacology, psychoimmunology, so you name anything. Because in every field, psychology plays a major role. The last thing I would say, economics and psychology. Our own former RBI director, RBI governor, Raghuram Rajan, he said, economics is nothing but a psychology. Forget about him. Mr. Thaler, Professor Thaler, got a Nobel Prize in economics 3 years back. He said, till today, economics, we were talking about rational theory, but he proved it is not a rational, it is an irrational theory, which is based on psychology. So your behavior drives your economics. So in every field, career-wise, the best option for profession is psychology these days.
That's wonderful to hear, being a student of psychology myself and a teacher as well. So it, it kind of gives me more hope to see psychology grow with the institutes like Jindal. So taking a cue from what you talked about, the stress levels and how things are handled at school. So my next question to you, Dr. Sahni, is that how can schools address the growing mental health challenges facing students today? And what role can behavioral sciences play in this effort? And what all we can envisage for ourselves as practitioners, how we can help, or how can the educators, what role they can play? And how can schools balance the need for early intervention and support with the potential risk of pathologizing normal developmental challenges? Because you know how it is that we end up taking everything too seriously, that normal things also are seen as abnormal now. So, I mean, our definitions are changing with time because of the kind of information that we get from media. So I think, even when I look around, people end up using the terms which probably they also do not know how to define, be it depression, be it hyperactivity. So how to strike a balance where we can handle all of this within the school context? I mean, that will be really helpful for me to understand coming from you.
The answer to your question is not encouraging, madam, because we can't do anything. I know you're not going to like it. Yeah, we cannot do anything. Why we can't do anything? First of all, human behavior is being developed between the age 0 to 7 years. All over the world, you have also studied that, is 0 to 5 years. But India being a very possessive country, we have 0 to 7 years. In this 0 to 7 years, who plays the maximum role? Parents, peers, and primary school teachers. But if parents have given a right kind of a values, then they will not be influenced by peers. So in a way, we said that 50 to 70% influence come from parents, 20 to 30 comes from peers, and another 20 to 30 comes from primary school teacher. So, but if parents have inculcated the right kind of values, so that 50 to 70 goes up to 80 to 85% to parents. So all of us, me and all of you, are a reflection of your parents. All of you sitting here, if you think your values are great, please give this credit to your parents. If you think you are involving into any kind of fraud, scam, bullying, cheating, please give this credit to your parents only, because we have learned in that age. If I will ever become a union minister of education for 1 hour, the only thing which I will change, that the salaries of the primary school teachers should be increased at least 3 to 4 or 5 times. They should get more salaries than PGTs and TGTs. PGT and TGT, they come and teach their own particular subject and they go away. But the foundation, why people, I'm glad that Ash Gulati is sitting here, he's a great mathematician. Why people don't like mathematics? Simple reason is they don't like their teachers. Either way. So they don't like the subject, they don't like teacher. They don't like teacher, they don't like subject. But if you don't like a mathematics, my yardstick says you cannot become a CEO. You will become an average, because mathematics is not mathematics. I'm not talking about algebra, trigonometry, or other things. I'm talking about it's a problem solving. And you feel very happy when you solve the problems. Madam, the answer to your question is change the CBSE board. The problem is with the board. Problem is not with the teachers or with the students. Now, what they expect, if you guys are teachers, every after class 10th board exam and 12th board exam, there is something called marking sheets. That means it comes from the CBSE saying that if a person has answered these 10 things, give them 10 marks. If it is 8 things, 8 marks, 7 things, 7 marks. If somebody has written outside the box something better, which has not been mentioned in the marking scheme, you'll get a 0 marks. CBSE is the problem. Rote learning is the problem. And you people come from good schools, but if 50 people are in the class, what teacher can do? Going for 40 minutes attendance and then managing students, and then you think you're teaching. These days, I'm very sorry, with due respect to all the teachers and schools, people think we don't go to school to learn. I'm sorry, I'm generating some heated discussion because I love to do that. People don't think that way. Why? There are dummy schools. I don't want to name. One of the top schools, known schools of Delhi, they have become a dummy schools. Do you know what do you mean by? You come and attend a school till 9:30. After that, you go to the coaching center and you prepare. I don't want to name. All of you are aware of which schools I'm talking about. What does it mean? That school is incompetent, inefficient. The coaching centers is your future. Do you think, have you ever heard in any kind of a developed country like this? And they are conducting their exam, scholarship, and all those kind of things. What is this going on? People commit maximum suicide in Kota. That is a hub. So, Madam Sanjeev Sahni or Kinra cannot do anything. Okay? I'm blunt. The CBSE should get some sense to change the process. What are you talking? One union minister, Kapil Sibal, comes, he said project-based, and every teacher became a clerk overnight. And they were all the time writing, filling up the registers and all that. The second after that he went, the other says, no, that is not the right way. This is the way. How we are treating children in our country? This is the way to treat children? This is a big administrative problem. We all should get together. We should give representations. And my chance is very, very low chances they will change, because that particular mindset is not going to change. They don't trust anyone. You must have seen in your schools, when the question paper comes, principal goes, photograph. Why we go through this kind of a system? Why schools cannot be now, but schools also have a major issue. I remember that in 2022, when we have a board exams, all the schools were helping their children in MCQ or whatever you call. All the schools, good schools, top schools, I'm fully aware of it. Suddenly CBSE realized, and then they said, no, there will be photo and this and that. Police or chor ka case, hum game khel rahe hain. And that is not right. We are not consistent. The government is not consistent. The parents are not consistent. I love Indian parents. They are like God and goddess. Like God Tony, men folk doesn't contribute anything. Like the men folk goes and sit in Kenya and they don't know what is happening to their family back at home. It is the mothers. It is the mothers who are raising children in India. I have a data. In parent-teacher meeting, 87% mothers goes. And only 13% father attends those kind of things, meetings. And when school people, when Kinra meets the parents and she says, your children requires a psychological support, or your children is indulging in bullying, the mother, the first thing is denied. It's never happened before. We have never heard it before. And then you said, no, look at this is this kind of things. And then the justification comes, Dada mar gaya tha, jaundice ho gaya tha. And then, while going home, she says, let that monster come back home and I will complain to that father who doesn't do anything. And the father realizes I'm head of the family suddenly. And says, what's going on? And you know what happens? आज के बाद टीवी नहीं, फुटबॉल नहीं, साइकिल नहीं, लैपटॉप नहीं, मोबाइल फोन नहीं, you can't touch it. Highly inconsistent behavior. I am for my children. I am for my students. We people are not behaving, including government and parents, we are not behaving well with them. So I'm sorry, it's not a positive response. I personally feel you need to change the system rather than you try to change the mindset of parents or students.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sahni, for answering it with rather, I would say, very, very honest observations of yours and very correct. I mean, I've been in the school system for almost 20 years now, and I completely agree with you. But still, I would tell you, I'll still not lose heart. Ankur, you can take the lead here.
One of the things that that all of us love about Dr. Sahni is his honest, reading of the situation. He doesn't mince his words and he is honest and everybody relates to it. I mean, not everybody has the courage or the authority to speak the truth. And with Sir, I've been, blessed enough to have known him for last at least 6, 7 years. I mean, ever since I've known him, anywhere he has gone, he has always spoken the truth and honest. And he is actually, he says that he likes bringing in these controversial statements. I'll say these are not controversial statements. He is honest. I mean, he's telling the truth that nobody dares to say, and he can say it because he has that authority. But thank you so much, sir, for that first half. It was really interesting, and to hear your thoughts on education, mental health, schools, and dummy schools. Absolutely. I mean, those are issues that nobody talks about, and everybody is putting under the carpet, although they are right in front of our eyes. The student mental health issues, the suicides in quota, the coaching centers, and the proliferation of just one single objective of getting into those top universities, and that's the end goal of education. I mean, that's a larger problem also. What is it that students are aiming at? Is it a job or is it a life? That is a major problem that I think is not being solved by anybody right now. But since we are a community of outreach professionals, I quickly want to push in one question from the admissions and outreach fraternity. And since I have been associated with you and Jindal for so long, everywhere I go after leaving Jindal, it was very hard to leave you. But everywhere I go, and now I'm a consultant, and they say, okay, how can we make next Jindal? What is it that they do so different in outreach that we can't do? I mean, even the young outreach professionals come up to me and say, what have you learned at Jindal? What have you learned with Dr. Sahni and Professor Raj? What is it that makes it so different? And I tell them because Dr. Sahni and Professor Raj will go out and do 7, 8 sessions a day. They will put in the legwork of going to schools, and I've traveled with them and have the same energy, same commitment of being there, leading from the front. And that's why Jindal is where it is today. But, some of our new age universities, people working in those universities who want to emulate Jindal success, and they are hiring admissions and outreach people. I mean, what will be your advice to their management on what is it that they should look for while hiring? And you have done 50,000 plus interviews. You have hired You said administration is something that you don't really enjoy, but you are the backbone of administration and Jindal everywhere. Everywhere we see, it's your imprint. So what will be your advice to, the university managements on when they are hiring admissions and outreach people? What is it that they should look for? And what is it that they should expect out of these people?
Yes. 2-3 things. First of all, it's a good question, and probably I have an answer to this. The first thing is that we don't believe in giving advertisement in newspapers. We want a personal touch. When we established in 2009, I remember from 2008, we were not having even a building, but we started going to various schools. Not that you come and join us. We generally used to go and talk about careers in social sciences or any topic which is quite relevant to students. So the first thing is we used to go, and we are doing it till today. Even one of the reasons, as I said, that I have visited probably over 9,000 schools in different part of the world, is the same thing, that I generally go and I conduct those sessions. We never say what Jindal offers, what we can offer you. So they should never feel that Jindal is coming to sell something. So nobody is interested when you give this kind of impression. 1, no advertisement. 2, no, selling business. The best thing is, like these days, I go to, 2 weeks back, I was in Chennai. 1 week back, I was in Bangalore. This week, I'm going to be in Varanasi. So what we do is we have an open house where parents and students, generally 300, 400 students and parents turns up. We offer them a breakfast. I talk to them career options in social sciences. While talking about, first I say, somebody says, I want to become an economics. I discourage. Somebody says, I want to become a psychologist. I discourage. Because why? It's a psychological phenomena. I don't want to say I'm here to sell these things. I say, why do you want to do? What you will do? You will not get a job. Then I gradually talk about what is the need of these kind of things gradually. And it's generally the session goes for minimum 2.5 to 3 hours. And if I'm addressing 300 people, the same day or the next day, I see 60 application or 70 application from that particular city comes to us. So not only me, Professor Rajkumar also does this with me separately. And we try to get, like we just started a psychology program undergraduate, and it's been 2 years, 500 applications. And this year we have made 1,000 applications. So the point is how we don't convince people, the students, but we give the reality that what is happening abroad. And I tell people generally, I go that if you want to try in Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, Yale, Michigan, Columbia, anywhere, what you should do. We never say that you come to Jindal. We say what all you need to do. Somebody says that which program is the best in Oxford. We say PPE is the best program. So it's not that we go for Jindal. We go to transition from school to higher education, how it is different. Another thing which I want to tell is to students that our respected CBSE says that you have to learn and you have to write in a particular way. But when you come to a university, then you have to write out of the box. You cannot write what exactly the professor, because it will be a copyright issue, or it will come and turn it in software that is a plagiarism. Okay, so it's a great transition from school to higher education. Now, the second question was what we see when we hire people. I see only 3 things. I don't want to see skill or a knowledge or anything. I see 3 things. 1, communication abilities. 2, presentation abilities. 3, confidence. That's it. If you have these three things, anybody can walk in, whether I take a junior manager or a director of a particular program. I just look for three things. Anybody will be trained in India on job. But if you have these three basic things, you can do wonders. So my friend Ankur Vora has super duper these three things, and he doesn't have anything fourth one. So, but he's doing so very well. So he is proving me that, yes, I'm right. He's endorsing my view that, yes, I'm right, that these three things are important.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful thoughts on very, very relevant issue. I am also conscious of your time. We just have about half an hour left. I will quickly invite our colleagues, if we can have Ashish and then Johnson ask their questions. Ashish, go ahead.
There are questions on the chat box as well.
Yes, sir. We will take that.
Asta Mahajan has written, sir, you said psychology will be on top in career in 23, but what about parents who are still rigid with career choices of their children? What if a child wants to pursue psychology and parents and forcing the child to pursue engineering? How universities can play a role in reaching out to such parents? Okay, you want a question for this? Oh, there's another one. Okay, we'll go one by one. So it's true, parents want engineering, but these days, nowadays with new NEP, now it all depends how many universities are going to adapt this, but I believe that UGC mandate is there that to do that. If anybody takes admission in Jindal Global University and after studying 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, anytime, they say, we want to go to another ABC university, we can't stop them. And the ABC university has to consider our credits. So this is the new NEP program, which will help children to achieve that. Second is, it's not necessary that earlier when people were, I met one person and she said, I'm very interested in doing psychology, I'm very interested in doing dance. I said, the best thing is to join liberal arts. They have a psychology as well. They have a dance, theater, everything, so that you can combine it. And whatever you want to do in masters, you can do it. Things have changed, Asta, whosoever is asked this question. New NAP, credit transfer, change of the stream, they allow everything. Look at this person sitting in front of you. I did one class in 3 years. And the same person from a village, I'm from a village from Himachal Pradesh. I had lunches and dinners with the US presidents and whatnot. So the point is, the students will automatically not do well if they don't like it. Aptitude, which Kendra knows very well, aptitude plays a major role. And unfortunately, most of the schools, they don't have a proper tools to assess the aptitude. Now, you can convince parents after conducting this aptitude test, hey, your son or daughter can do wonders if they go to this field. And in fact, anybody wants, I will be very happy to distribute those aptitude tests, which are quite valid and relevant. And in fact, differential aptitude test, DAT is probably the best one. So there are more as well. We should know that what students the aptitude is, and then we can convince parents as well. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for the response. We can ask Ashish or probably Mr. Johnson to ask his question as he has raised his hand. Mr. Johnson, please go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Can IT check if others can unmute themselves? I think I have heard.
No, I have muted them. You want them that they can unmute themselves?
Yeah. Yes,
I'll do it for you. No problem. 1 second. Enable waiting room. Say join the mute all on entry. Yes, I've done that. Go ahead, sir.
Now, Ashish, you can go ahead
Thank
and then
you.
join.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Sahni. It's a great honor and pleasure to, have a word with you. So, for me, I think what is important is, how I see the future. The relationship with subject mathematics is something which does bother a lot of people in universities. And I think that is where psychology comes in top on, because it's not about the numbers, what you learned, how you can kind of express them, but it's about your relationship with the subject and your problem solving ability, your confidence on yourself, how you take the matter and how you kind of put it forward. So in that whole realm, what I see something very positive in your statement today was the fact that in 5 years you said tests are going to be more machine driven. So that is so amazing to know. You know why? Because what my basic research, no, I'm a very small person in research on that space, but I saw that even medical departments of today, when they were in the past, they had issues because tests were a big issue. They could not test things and find out कि है क्या problem. तो अभी भी सर मेरे ख्याल से मेंटल हेल्थ में यही हो रहा है. पता ही नहीं है कि प्रॉब्लम है और कौन जस्टिफाई करे. मतलब एक इंसान कहता है, उसकी जगह मशीन बोलती है ना कि फीवर है, उसको माना जाता है, बट इंसान बोलता है तो कहते नहीं, मतलब हो सकता है ऐसी गर्मी हो. तो सर कोई बात नहीं, आई थिंक आप जो हमारे को रियलिटीज बताते हो ना, उसके लिए भी एक्सट्रीमली थैंकफुल, क्योंकि इस रियलिटी में आप वो होप भी दे रहे हो कि अगले 5 सालों में बहुत मशीन्स ऐसी आएंगी जो कि इन इश्यूज को ना इंसानियत तक पहुंचा पाएंगी भी. एक्चुअल में कंसर्न है. बच्चे मैथ्स के फोबिया में जब एक बार ही फंस जाते हैं, फिर एनवायरनमेंट में जब फंस जाते हैं और फिर वहां पे मतलब जैसे कि बातचीत भी वैसी हो रही होती है, तो जब वो एग्जाम को देते हैं, टेस्ट को देते हैं, तो उसमें जब अगर कोई मेडिकल हमारे पास डिवाइसेस कुछ ऐसी होंगी जो कि मेंटल हेल्थ को हेल्प कर पाएंगी बताने के लिए कि ठीक नहीं है, I think I see hope there. So thank you so much. I feel great. I was part of this audience. I'll be leaving a little early. I have a class to attend. So thank you so much. And I just want to thank you for this expression, and yes, open for your thoughts.
Ashish, just a comment. You are so right, and I appreciate what you're talking about. When we introduced BBA, we introduced mathematics as one of the subjects for the first year. You'll be surprised that students went on a strike. They said, we don't want to study mathematics. And I said that we are not trying to make you mathematics. It is important to understand because it's a problem solving. You'll be so happy. But the problem is right now, it is difficult to change because the aversion of the negativity for this subject, because the people right from the beginning, their basics are not right. That is a major problem. And whereas I personally feel research, mathematics, and statistics are the most important subjects.
I agree with you. Yes.
These days, the counselors are sitting, I would say, if anybody wants to make a lot of money and they wants to become an overnight millionaire, please ask them to do data analytics, business analytics, and marketing analytics. These three things, I guarantee you, if somebody goes abroad, data analytics, I guarantee you that person can get $200,000 straight away. So, but that has a lot of mathematics in it. So, but if our students or children are not very happy studying mathematics, then there is an issue. Great. Thank you very much, Ashish.
Thank you.
Yes. Can I go to Johnson?
Yeah.
Protocol?
Thank you, sir. Professor Sahni, an honor to connect. I'm going to stick to my question despite what you have covered, because I feel I need to book a detailed slot someday in future about all that you've talked. But let me stick to my question. The context is this saying that it takes a village to raise a child. You mentioned it by parents, peers, and primary school teachers in that manner. I have been a mariner. I've spent 34 years in the Navy, and that's the context to which I'm asking my question. What would be some priorities if someone is moving from a professional space to the education space, whether high school or higher education. I mean, I would love maths had I been allowed to teach. I would spend all my life teaching grade 4, grade 3, and take the so-called phobia out, and I know I can. Now, why did I ask that question is despite things like professor of practice, which have been introduced, great initiatives, the actual bureaucratic process hurdles for you to be able to teach are still too many. I'm still fortunate that I did a degree in IR and political science, and I might get a job into that. Because why can't I bring experience to help children, and not just from a mainstream that you have done a standard academic journey? So short way rephrasing, how can a professional move into the education space? What would be some priorities that he should take?
No young professional will ever would like to come to the educational space. When people like you and me, we make little money in our profession, and then we think we should go and do this activity in the schools. So only people with gray hair or a gray beard, they generally come to this profession. And let me tell you now, people like you and me are highly successful. People like you and me, we are practitioners. People like you and me, we have seen the industry. Unfortunately, the academia and industry interface does not exist in India. My professors in the business school, I'm just taking an example, probably 70% or 80% might not have seen an industry or have ever seen the gate of an industry. Similarly, the industry people, they don't come and take sessions because the private industry said, we did not hire you for this, and they are not going to come and teach. So when people like you and me, we are satisfied with our profession and we come, let me tell you, students likes us more because we give practical examples. We tell them, we put them into a crisis, and then we train them how to get out of this crisis, which is not the skill a regular theoretical people would have. So I would, if I will start any university, I would hire only practitioners rather than any theoretical person, because these people are available in abundance and they will teach through experience rather than through books. So I like that.
Thank you, sir, for just bracketing when you're saying you and me, but we are connected. I would love later to just spend time, but right now I'll yield to the others.
You come to campus, you stay with us. We will spend a lot of evenings together.
Happy to. I look forward. Yes.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Sahni. So maybe we can move forward to the next person, Mr. Neeraj.
Yeah.
Please ask your question.
Thank you. It was wonderful insights. So I'll stick to my questions. What is your view? Because you are at the Mount Everest. What is the 30,000 feet view on blended learning, the online and offline for universities particularly?
I hate these type of questions which can impact my business. Now, I don't know whether I have to be honest with you or I should lie. If I have to talk on behalf of the university, I will say it does very well. My good 30 crores comes from this. So if I say it doesn't work, then I am not doing justice. So my personal viewpoint is any type of online training will not help. There are three things, SEA, which is being provided by the schools and the university. S stands for social intelligence, E stands for emotional intelligence, and A stands for artificial intelligence. Now, when we talk about a social intelligence, when student comes to the school, with due respect to IITs, do you think IITs is known in India because of the faculty? Absolutely no. They are known because the best students goes there. All the top 4,500 students goes to the top IITs in India. They create a culture and an environment over there. They conduct various experiments and projects over there, and they are successful. It is not because of the faculty of the... Now, again, I don't want to name any school, but when I say, you will come to know, there are few schools are like industries. And in class 11th, they will take good 200, 300, 400 students, the best of the students, 95% and above. And they come. And if they are having 1,100 students, 650 students goes abroad to study. And out of that, 90 goes into the Ivy Leagues. That kind of a school in Delhi we have. But they are not their students. They have joined in 11th. It's not that they are there right from the beginning. So when you are taking a cream of students and you are working with them, the credit goes to students rather than the teacher as well. So I would suggest it is important because we learn from peer more. Emotional intelligence, one is that we have learned between 0 to 7 years, plus how I'm practicing, understanding my own emotions and understanding your emotions. And without artificial intelligence, we cannot do anything. So this, you will get it in physical mode, not in online mode. So I was a little uncomfortable while answering your question, but that is true.
Thank you for that, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. May I invite Trupti for her question? Trupti, yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. And I'm really enjoying this interaction. Thank you so much, Dr. Sahni. The session is it's really very insightful. And I really want to, I want this session to go on and on and on. I mean, I'm just liking it so much. Sir, there's a quick question from my side. See, I'm a part of admissions and outreach team. Okay, so see, all the universities, okay, that are, working in this particular space, okay, and there's so much of competition to get the best students in the university. They have their own set of processes to follow, right? And see, every university today, they are boasting of things like providing 21st century skills, then providing best of infrastructure, world-class infrastructure, and so on. So it is not only restricted to few university, but majority of the university, yeah, they promise this. So what is your take, sir? Like, I would love to hear from you. Like, what is the main differentiator, that students find and students, go for the right one, the right university, or as per your,
Very
opinion,
simple
what would you
thing.
suggest?
I have an answer for this. Generally, I don't have answers, then I confuse people. So whenever I have an answer, I feel very good. I will not repeat. First of all, one should never go about the infrastructure of the university. If you have money, you can create infrastructure. Not a big thing. Person like us, we say we are having 1:9 faculty student ratio. And now we are going to do 1:8. We can do it because we have money. But what is important is, whenever those who are here, if you want to adapt in your practice, you can do that. One is, if you want admission in a very good university, the best thing is, depending upon your interest, look on the website, which are the professors teaching that particular course, or which are the professors have published that kind of a research. Write to them. You say that I'm interested joining ABC University because you are there and you are doing this research. I've read your paper. Wow. What professor wants when any youngster is reading your paper and appreciating? And they say, I will join this university provided you help me. You know what, Tirupati, let me tell you, in India, in the business school, people call me. I'm very much interested putting my son or daughter in your business school. What the immediate first question is, what was the last year median salary for MBA? And I said 12 lakhs. You are charging 16 lakhs and my son or daughter will get only 10, 12 lakhs. Management academies have become a placement academies in India. I'm very sorry to say, you go to IIM, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, you go anywhere, one of the best institutes. They teach so many subjects for 1.5 months only. The ground reality is not there. Unless you do research, unless you work with the professors, unless you work like a research assistant, then you can learn certain things. So choosing a university, not because of infrastructure, not because of placement, because of the best researchers they have. I want to do in marketing. Which are they, if I see that, which is the marketing faculty? From where they have educated? What kind of research papers they have published? Is something of your interest? That will work well. Even when tell someone, if somebody is looking for a job, you know, the best thing is the people who are going to interview you, read about their research, their publication, and then you say, oh, I'm your fan. You are doing such a great work. I've read your article. Means you are in. Har aadmi bhukha hai praise ka. We are human beings. We are hungry of our praises. But it should be specific. Not that, Dr. Sahni, you are wearing a nice tie or a nice suit. Nobody likes it. So in that case, there could be hundreds of things I can talk about. But since nobody has asked a question, I will quickly, because it is important for me to tell you something. All the schools counselors, may I request you? I'll just quickly say 5, 6 things, which will be of a great help if you will tell your students to do it. The first is the mood and the food goes side by side. Reduce the simple carbohydrates, which is called white flour. White flour reduces the reflexes, reactionability, and they are drowsy and lazy because they are consuming white flour. Just try them to reduce it or not to take it. Second, you'll be surprised to know, hydration is so important these days. Hydration has a direct link with the academic achievement these days. Can you imagine? Pani jada peene se academic achievement badhta hai. So, but it's not that you drink 2 liters in the evening and 2 liters at the evening and you have done your job. Continuously having that. Third is the posture. Your ears should be in line with the shoulder and your spine should be straight. Ideally, whenever you are studying, you should sit on the chair and have a table. You don't have a dining table. You don't have a dining table, sit on the floor, put a cushion, lean your back against the wall. That will help. The sleep, which our students love, children love them. They must sleep, those who are less than 14 years, they must sleep for 8 hours. And those who are above 14, they must sleep for 7 hours. And I tell you one amazing research. All the counselors, please listen carefully. The research says whenever you get up, not that you have to get up at 5 o'clock or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. Whenever you get up, the first 2 hours after sleep, whatever you are going to study, the retention goes up to 83%. And the following 2 hours, it comes down to 67%. You know, the drama which our students do that I'm going to sit the whole night and I'll study, at that time, it is between 14 to 17%. Another last thing, prepare your students to recall positive events. Negative events comes of its own. You need not to do anything, but I have to think and I need to put an effort to get the positive, to recall positive events. Where was I last summer? What I was doing? I'm enjoying water, food, dance, restaurant, whatever. Adrenaline will flow in your body and you'll feel good. There are many more, but these are the few things which you can talk to your students. Yes, any more question? I have only 3 minutes left.
Yes, sir. So last question. I think Shaheen, you had a question you wanted to ask.
Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Sahni. This is an afternoon in Nairobi.
Wow, Shaheen, good to see your photo.
Yes. It has been a very, very interesting and enjoyable session, and you're as dynamic as you were when you came to Kenya. In fact, whenever I come across teachers that you came and addressed in Kenya, they always ask me, when is that great man coming back to us? All of them absolutely adore you. So my message to you to begin with is that you have a star, you're a star here, you have a big following. So my question, Dr. Sahni, right now I'm engaged in career development, career counseling, training and development. I was wondering if your institute, Behavioral Science, I think it has a lot to do with decision-making, psychometric assessments, which need to be introduced at school level, at secondary level, and right now with the new curriculum coming up, the decisions have to be made pretty earlier in year 9. So 14 plus age group. So I was wondering, would it be possible for you to deliver online certificate courses for career counselors in Kenya? Because we are trying to mobilize groups here that would concentrate on key issues relating to career counseling in schools, because this is a very big issue. If they are well informed and they make well informed decisions in schools, they will not be having the hassle of facing indecision at university level. So I feel we need to address them. And because there are so many psychometric assessments, both online and offline, how do we make the right choice? Thank you.
Okay. Shaheen, I will go out of the way to help you, provided you send Ankur Vora back.
Ankur is in love with Kenya. I don't promise that, Dr. Sahni.
I don't want that to happen. So, the two things which you have asked, one is the certification course, which we can do it. And we are not interested in making any money, but certification can happen only if we will do some proctored examination also at the end, because we don't want that the repetition of the university that they are just giving certificates. Yes, if you just want a 2 to 3 hours participation certificate, that we can do it, but that's not fair. If you want us to organize some special program, which should be of minimum 30 hours, ideally should 40 hours, then we will take a small test. And if they get through, we'll certify that they, on behalf of the university, that they have done this particular course and they have passed it as well. That is one. Second, again, the tests, if you want to use any kind of a Western test, I can give you hundreds of tests, links free of cost, but that is not applicable in Africa. In Africa, the best thing is, maybe someone or any other day, I will tell you the way even the medical doctor uses a stethoscope. Similarly, psychologists need to do electrodermal to study the electrical conductance of the wave. Probably in 2 minutes, we can tell you your mental toughness level. Amazing tests are there. But I need to sit or maybe on the Zoom to talk to you. You can establish this particular small center. That will be much more better than online learning, which is more having a Western culture or a flavor than it is applicable in Africa. So anything for you, Shaheen, we will be very happy to assist you and support you.
Thank you, Dr. Sahni. I'll get back to you.
Sure.
Thank you so much, sir, I know it's time, but
I have a class at 6:30 to 9:30.
Yeah. Thank you so much. On behalf of the Outreach Collective, we would like to say, with all our humility, thank you so much for taking time out. My messages, our WhatsApp group of 800 people is full with people saying this is one of the best sessions that they have attended, and we would love to have Dr. Sahni again in future. But thank you so much, sir. On behalf of Upasana, if you have some last words, over to you, and honor on behalf of the community.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Sahni, for all the pearls of wisdom. And I'm going enriched with so much of, the practical knowledge that you've handed over to us as counselors. And I'm sure everyone else in the meet has definitely benefited from it. And I have lots to talk to my students tomorrow. I mean, the tips that you've given, I'm sure I'm going to start from tomorrow itself. Thank you once again for being here and answering everything. And yes, we are all honored to have you with us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you. If I can be of any assistance and help or support to anyone, and if anybody needs help in terms of personal issues or professional issues, other than financial issues, you are most welcome to contact me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you,
Bye.
TOC, for being here. Until we meet again. Bye-bye.